Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of why mainstream movies will always suck. Okay, so when it comes to mainstream movies, what I mean is the movies you see in cinemas that are supported by big time movie companies. And what I am just going to discuss is why it will always be bad. And not just like in a year or two or the foreseeable future, but why it will always be bad as long as those people are in charge of making movies actually for the cinema industry, okay? And that's what we'll be talking about, okay? So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to the topic of the reason why, the biggest reason why might surprise you, but it's down to the fact that these people plan movies in advance, okay? And that is the honest reason why movies, to be quite blunt and honest with you, that are made by these big time companies, like these big movie companies, will always continue to suck, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, as we all know, whether it comes down to movies, um, you know, uh, that we see today when it comes to common complaints of them, whether it could be that they talk about the same exact topic over and over again, it's the same it's the same franchise, just like how people were complaining not too long ago that there's just too many superhero movies or, or whatnot, or just in general, whether it's that or just franchises being too long or even just poorly written. In all honesty, the truth of the matter is, you know, how can you expect that to improve when all those movies you're complaining about, um, for that matter, are gonna continue to be followed up with sequels, and that's exactly the truth of the matter. And if you don't believe me, you can go look it up yourself on the internet, like on Google to be more specific, okay? You can look it up yourself. Okay, there's already movies that have already been planned from 2030 to even movies that probably have been planned to even 2035, which is over a decade from now. Okay, or at least close to a decade, but you get the point. Like, it's in a far distant future. Okay, that's the honest truth of the matter. Okay, most movies that you see nowadays, or even you will see in the upcoming years, have already been planned out already for the future. And that is the honest truth of the matter. So if you have something that's already been planned out ahead, whether it could be, you know, a series of movies that are already bad as it is, and they've already been planned ahead for that matter, okay, then how can you expect things to improve? Whether it's that or even, you know, maybe a movie series that's good, but it's just repetitive for that matter, okay? Because you just see too many movies that are about the same freaking thing. And that's the truth of the matter. So, to be quite blunt and honest with you, um, it so yeah, back to like what I was saying, to be quite blunt and honest with you, if you see that type of shit, to put it bluntly, to be quite honest with you, okay? The truth of the matter is, to be quite honest with you, like look up that stuff yourself. It's like, how can you expect things to improve if these people have already planned more crappy movies ahead in the future? Like bad franchises, just like everyone makes fun of, like at this point, the Fast and Furious series, because they've made so many movies that there's so many plot holes in it. It's ridiculous, But if they already have a Fast and Furious, let's just say, planned a few years from now, then common sense would obviously indicate that you're going to have the same movie producing the same crap, And that's the truth of the matter. The Fast and Furious series should have ended a long time ago. They're still making movies for it. And there's a bunch of series out there, that are kind of outdated, that are still making movies for it, to be quite honest with you. So the truth of the matter is, how can you expect things to improve if they're still doing the same thing? Whether it could be the series that you already see, or it already the same fundamental theme. Like, for example, maybe it could be live action movie remakes for maybe, for old Disney movies that are just simply nostalgia baiting, just trying to ride off of your nostalgia, or it could be, for example, another one could be maybe, for example, it could just be about the superhero movies, like whether roughly speaking or specifically speaking, like for the series, the exact series that have already been out, if you already plan these things out in advance, then of course you're going to still have movies that are continue to suck and that continue to be boring. So the truth of the matter is, if you think the movie industry is going to improve, in all honesty, in the foreseeable future, then you're sadly mistaken. It's not going to improve. And it's going to continue to suck in the foreseeable future. And as the truth of the matter, I will always suck as long as these companies are continuing to produce movies. So now the question becomes, of course, what can we do to improve this? The simple answer to that question is simply very, very, very simple. What we need to do is we need to start having people online produce their own movies, like independent filmmakers, and maybe even through me, we can create a community where we make movies and stuff. And through making those movies and stuff, we can then later, of course, no surprise, if it becomes well known enough, because it's become popular online, we might even be able to see if we can make it in the big screen. So we have people come from the bottom to the top instead of the same gatekeepers in Hollywood and stuff producing movies where they're just going to produce the same exact boring generic ideas you've seen a million times before, let alone, just to add to that as well, not only produce the same crappy movies, you also are able to know that it's being ethically produced without having to have people do God knows what. If you know what I'm saying, if you've heard of the rumors about the Illuminati and all the weird shit that they're doing in Hollywood, in order for people to become successful and known as without having to do all those weird ass freaking things that you see in you know in Hollywood, if you've heard about it, at least if anything. It's not even about the Illuminati conspiracy theory. It's just the fact that some people have had to do some weird shit with obviously people like Harvey Weinstein being exposed in order to become successful. So that's the truth of the matter. So you don't have to support these big companies that are just going to produce the same boring, generic crap. You can have movies that are produced, of course, by of course, to be quite blunt and honest with you, by people online, random people, and as a result, it not only will it be more original because you don't have to have Hollywood, of course, try to gatekeep everything. It will not only be more original, the ideas, it will also be more diverse. So there'll be a bigger variety of ideas. Okay, to be quite honest with you, instead of just the same generic crap you see in Hollywood. So that's the best way to do it. So create your own niche audience online, and we don't have to worry about these big companies producing the same generic crap you've seen before, because they're not going to change. Okay, they make enough money as it is already, and they already plan movie ideas out years in advance. So if they're already doing that, what makes you think in God's name they're going to ever change at all when it comes to producing movies that actually don't suck? So that's the truth of the matter, okay? So that's the best way I can say it when it comes to explaining the topic of why the mainstream movie industry will never improve. So that is the truth of the matter, because it never will improve because they already planned things in advance, and that's the truth. So anyway, this is my video. That's all to say. And simply put, I hope you enjoyed it. And just remember, if you like this video and videos like this, remember to thumbs this video up and hit the subscribe button. And that's all I have to say. And simply put, I'm out. So bye.